As men move past 60, attraction changes in subtle but meaningful ways. Women at this stage of life are often less focused on surface level perfection and far more tuned in to signs of health, vitality, and emotional presence. Whether they realize it consciously or not, there are certain body cues that communicate strength, reliability, and longevity. These signals matter because they reflect how well a man is aging, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. One of the first things women tend to notice is posture and the way a man carries himself. A straight spine, relaxed shoulders, and balanced movement suggest confidence. Good muscle tone and spinal health. Slouching or stiffness, on the other hand, can silently signal pain, fatigue, or low energy. Good posture doesn't mean looking rigid. It means moving with ease, purpose, and self-respect, which is deeply attractive at any age. Eyes are another powerful indicator. Clear, attentive eyes with natural facial expressions suggest good sleep, stable hormones, and emotional engagement. Women often read eye contact as a sign of honesty and mental sharpness. Dullness, excessive redness, or avoidance may suggest stress, exhaustion, or disengagement. Healthy eyes communicate presence, and presence builds connection. Hands also reveal more than most men realize. Strong but relaxed hands, steady movements, and basic grooming send signals about circulation, nerve health, and self-care. Tremors, extreme dryness, or weakness can hint at underlying health concerns. Women subconsciously associate capable hands with independence, confidence, and the ability to engage fully in daily life. The midsection plays a role as well, not from a cosmetic standpoint, but from a health perspective. Excess abdominal weight often reflects metabolic health, inflammation, and hormone balance. Women over time learn to associate a stable, well-managed body core with longevity and discipline. It's less about having a flat stomach and more about demonstrating control over one's health habits. Finally, overall skin quality speaks volumes. Skin reflects hydration, circulation, nutrition, and lifestyle choices. Healthy skin tone, even with wrinkles, signals vitality. Women often see skin as a living report card of how a man treats his body. Sun exposure, diet, sleep, and stress all show up here. Ultimately, what women notice most is not perfection, youth, or muscles. They notice signs that a man is present in his body, attentive to his health, and confident in who he is now. Aging well is not about turning back the clock. It's about signaling strength, stability, and self-awareness in every movement and interaction. As men move beyond 60, the idea of attraction shifts in a powerful and often misunderstood way. Many men believe women are still looking for youth, flawless looks, or the kind of physical perfection celebrated in movies and advertisements. In reality, most women at this stage of life are paying attention to something far deeper and far more meaningful, visible signals of health. These signals quietly communicate how well a man is aging, how he treats his body, and how present he is in his own life. Health becomes the new currency of attraction, replacing the shallow markers of youth that matter far less over time. Women over 60 have lived long enough to understand that energy, consistency, and stability matter more than appearances. They notice how a man moves, how he breathes, how he sits down and stands up, and whether his body seems supported by strength rather than struggle. These observations are not judgmental, they are intuitive. A man who moves with ease suggests fewer daily limitations and a greater ability to enjoy life together. Health signals quietly answer an important question. Can this person fully participate in life? Emotional health is also closely tied to physical health, and women often read the two together. A man who appears rested, alert, and grounded in his body usually carries himself with patience and emotional control. That calm presence is often more attractive than any youthful feature. It suggests resilience, self-awareness, and an ability to handle stress without shutting down or becoming irritable. These qualities become increasingly important as people value peace and stability more than excitement alone. Another reason health matters more than youth is experience. Women over 60 have often seen how quickly looks fade and how deeply poor health can affect relationships. They understand that unmanaged health issues can limit travel, intimacy, independence, and shared experiences. So when they notice signs of good health, they are really noticing potential for connection, companionship, and longevity. Health becomes a signal of shared future moments, not just present attraction. Importantly, this does not mean a man must look fit, thin, or athletic. Health signals come in many forms: steady energy, controlled movements, clear communication, and comfort in one's own body. Wrinkles, gray hair, and age lines do not reduce attraction when they are paired with vitality. In fact, they often enhance it because they tell a story of life lived with strength and endurance. In the end, women are not comparing men to their younger selves. They are observing how well a man has adapted to aging. Youth fades naturally, but health is something that can be supported, protected, and improved at any age. When a man demonstrates that he values his well-being, women see responsibility, maturity, and self-respect. Those qualities quietly speak louder than youth ever could. As men age past 60, women often become especially attentive to how a man carries his body through everyday life. This awareness is not rooted in criticism or comparison, but in instinctive observation. Movement, posture, and physical presence reveal a great deal about overall health, confidence, and inner stability. Long before words are exchanged, the body communicates whether a man feels strong within himself or is struggling against discomfort, stiffness, or fatigue. Posture is one of the clearest signals. A man who stands upright with relaxed shoulders and a balanced stance often appears more confident, capable, and self-assured. This doesn't require military straightness or exaggerated stiffness. Instead, it reflects a body that is supported by healthy muscles, flexible joints, and an active lifestyle. Women tend to associate good posture with independence and resilience, qualities that become increasingly valuable with age. Slouching, constant shifting, or guarded movements can quietly suggest chronic pain or low energy, which can raise concerns about long-term vitality. The way a man walks also speaks volumes. Smooth, steady steps indicate coordination, joint health, and neurological stability. Women subconsciously notice whether a man moves with ease or appears hesitant and strained. A confident walk communicates that the body is still responsive and capable, able to keep up with daily activities and shared experiences. It sends a reassuring message that aging has not taken away his ability to engage fully with life. Beyond movement, overall physical presence matters. A man who appears comfortable in his body tends to occupy space calmly, without tension or restlessness. This sense of ease often reflects good breathing patterns, balanced muscle tone, and lower stress levels. Women are naturally drawn to this grounded presence because it feels safe, reliable, and emotionally steady. It suggests a man who is not fighting his age but working with it. Physical presence is also closely connected to self-respect. When a man maintains basic fitness, mobility, and awareness of his body, it signals that he values himself. This doesn't mean spending hours in a gym. It means caring enough to stretch, move, and maintain function. Women often interpret this as a sign of responsibility and maturity. A man who takes care of his body is often perceived as someone who can take care of a relationship as well. What matters most is not perfection, strength, or youthfulness, but harmony. Women notice whether a man's body seems supported, balanced, and in sync with his age. Aging well is not about resisting time, it's about adapting gracefully. When a man moves with confidence and presence, women see not just a body, but a life lived with awareness, discipline, and quiet strength. As men move past 60, the eyes often become one of the most revealing indicators of overall well-being. Women may not consciously analyze what they are seeing, but they instinctively register signals that come through eye contact, facial expression, and alertness. The eyes communicate far more than age. They reflect mental sharpness, emotional stability, sleep quality, and even long-term health habits. In many ways, the eyes tell a story before a single word is spoken. Clear, attentive eyes suggest presence. When a man listens fully, maintains natural eye contact, and responds thoughtfully, it signals that his mind is engaged and responsive. Women often associate this with emotional availability and cognitive health. At this stage of life, mental clarity becomes deeply attractive because it suggests meaningful conversation, shared understanding, and the ability to stay connected. A man who appears mentally present feels dependable and grounded. Eye contact also conveys confidence and honesty. A calm, steady gaze reflects comfort with oneself and with others. It does not need to be intense or unbroken, but it should feel genuine. Women often read consistent eye contact as a sign of integrity and emotional maturity. Avoidance, distraction, or wandering attention can unintentionally signal stress, anxiety, or disengagement, even when that is not the intention. The physical appearance of guys matters as well, not in a cosmetic sense, but as a health signal. Brightness, moisture, and natural movement often reflect adequate hydration, good circulation, and restful sleep. Persistent redness, puffiness, or heaviness can suggest fatigue, inflammation, or chronic stress. Women who have lived through decades of life experience often recognize these signs because they have seen how lifestyle choices show up in the face over time. Facial expressions around the eyes also play a role. Genuine warmth, softness, and emotional responsiveness communicate kindness and approachability. Lines and wrinkles do not reduce attraction. In fact, they often enhance it when paired with expressiveness. They signal experience and emotional depth. What matters is whether the eyes feel alive and engaged rather than tired or withdrawn. Another important aspect is how the eyes respond during conversation. A man who reacts naturally, smiling, showing curiosity, expressing empathy, appears emotionally intelligent. Women often value this more than physical appearance because it reflects the ability to connect, understand, and share moments. Emotional intelligence becomes increasingly important with age, and the eyes are one of its clearest indicators. Ultimately, women are not looking for perfect vision or youthful features. They are noticing whether the eyes reflect vitality, awareness, and emotional openness. Healthy eyes suggest a man who is present in his life, attentive to others, and capable of building meaningful connection. At any age, but especially after 60, the eyes quietly communicate strength, clarity, and the ability to truly see and be seen. As men age beyond 60, women often become more perceptive about subtle physical cues that reflect overall health and capability. One area that quietly draws attention is the hands. Hands are constantly visible and active in daily life, making them a natural source of information about a man's physical condition, lifestyle, and self-care habits. Without conscious analysis, women tend to notice how hands move, how steady they are, and how comfortably a man uses them. Strong, controlled hand movements suggest good circulation and nerve function. When a man reaches for an object, gestures while speaking, or performs simple tasks with ease, it communicates coordination and confidence. Women often associate the steadiness with independence and competence. Hands that shake excessively, feel weak, or appear stiff can subtly raise concerns about health and long-term function, especially when women are thinking about shared activities in daily life. Grip strength, even in small interactions like a handshake, sends powerful signals. A firm but relaxed grip suggests vitality and balanced muscle tone. It communicates presence without aggression. Women often interpret this as a sign of self-assurance and physical capability. An overly tight grip can feel tense, while a very weak one may suggest low energy or diminished strength. Balance and control matter more than force. Grooming also plays an important role. Clean, well-kept hands with trim nails suggest attention to hygiene and personal care. This signals self-respect and awareness, qualities that become increasingly attractive with age. Women often view basic grooming not as vanity, but as evidence that a man values himself and the people around him. Neglected hands can unintentionally suggest disinterest in self-care or declining routine habits. Skin texture and temperature can reveal health patterns as well. Hands that are extremely cold may indicate circulation issues, while excessively dry or cracked skin can reflect dehydration or nutritional imbalance. Women may not label these observations medically, but they register them intuitively. Over time, people learn to associate these signs with how well someone manages stress, hydration, and overall health. Hands also carry emotional meaning. The way a man uses his hands to express himself, offer support, or show affection can communicate warmth and empathy. Gentle, intentional touch conveys emotional security and trust. Women often value this deeply, especially later in life when emotional safety becomes a priority. Hands that feel steady and responsive can create a sense of connection that goes far beyond appearance. In the end, women are not judging hands for perfection or youthfulness. They are noticing what hands reveal about independence, care, and presence. Healthy, capable hands suggest a man who can engage fully with life, handle responsibilities, and offer steady companionship. These quiet signals speak volumes, making hands an important but often overlooked indicator of overall vitality and attractiveness after 60. As men move past 60, the midsection often becomes an unspoken indicator of overall health rather than a matter of appearance. Women at this stage of life are rarely focused on having a perfectly flat stomach or a youthful body shape. Instead, they intuitively associate the condition of a man's midsection with deeper issues such as metabolic health, energy levels, and long-term well-being. This area of the body quietly reflects lifestyle habits that have been built over many years. Excess weight around the abdomen is commonly linked to inflammation, insulin resistance, and hormonal changes. While women may not consciously think in medical terms, they often recognize patterns through life experience. They understand that abdominal weight can affect stamina, mobility, and even mood. A heavily strained midsection can suggest limited endurance or health challenges that may restrict shared activities such as travel, walking, or simply enjoying daily routines together. What women tend to notice more than size is control. A man who appears comfortable in his body, with a stable core and balanced movement, signals discipline and awareness. This doesn't require muscular physique. It reflects consistency in eating habits, movement, and stress management. Women often interpret this as reliability. A man who manages his health is seen as someone who can manage responsibilities and commitments. The midsection also affects posture and breathing. Carrying excess weight can pull the body forward, leading to slouched posture and shallow breathing. Women often pick up on these cues instinctively. A supported core allows a man to stand upright, move freely, and breathe deeply. These signals suggest vitality and calmness, qualities that become more attractive with age than sheer physical strength. Energy levels are closely tied to abdominal health. A balanced midsection often corresponds with more stable blood sugar and better endurance throughout the day. Women notice whether a man seems constantly tired or struggles with physical effort. Steady energy communicates that aging has not overtaken his ability to enjoy life. It suggests a partner who can stay active and present rather than limited by fatigue. Importantly, women are not measuring inches or comparing bodies. They are observing patterns. A man who takes care of his midsection demonstrates self-respect and long-term thinking. This signals maturity rather than vanity. It shows an understanding that health is an investment, not a short-term goal. Ultimately, the midsection tells a story of habits, balance, and self-control. Women over 60 are drawn to men who show they are aging with intention. A healthy core reflects more than physical condition. It reflects awareness, discipline, and a desire to remain engaged in life. Those qualities quietly shape attraction far more than appearance ever could. As men grow beyond 60, the condition of the skin becomes a visible reflection of how the body has been treated over time. Women are rarely looking for smooth, youthful skin at this stage of life. Instead, they instinctively read skin as a sign of vitality, hydration, circulation, and long-term habits. Skin tells a story that cannot be hidden, and women who have lived through decades of experience often know how to interpret it without conscious effort. Healthy-looking skin does not mean wrinkle-free. Wrinkles, lines, and texture are natural signs of life lived and experience gained. What matters more is tone, elasticity, and overall appearance. Skin that appears even in color, well hydrated and responsive, often reflects good blood flow and nutrition. Women associate this with resilience and strength. Dull, gray, or overly dry skin can suggest dehydration, poor circulation, or chronic stress, which may quietly raise concerns about overall health. The face, in particular, draws attention because it reflects both physical and emotional well-being. Tension held in the jaw, forehead, or around the mouth can indicate ongoing stress or discomfort. Women often notice whether a man's face appears relaxed or constantly strained. A relaxed facial expression suggests emotional balance and self-regulation, qualities that become increasingly attractive with age. Skin is also closely tied to lifestyle. Sun exposure, smoking, alcohol use, sleep habits, and nutrition all leave visible marks over time. Women are not judging past choices, they are observing present patterns. A man whose skin shows signs of care, such as protection from excessive sun or signs of proper hydration, signals awareness and responsibility. This suggests someone who understands the importance of maintenance and prevention rather than reacting only when problems arise. Another subtle aspect is how the skin responds to touch and temperature. Warm, responsive skin often reflects good circulation and cardiovascular health. Women may subconsciously notice whether a man feels cold, clammy, or overly flushed. These sensations can influence feelings of comfort and connection. Healthy skin contributes to a sense of physical ease and emotional safety. Beyond health, skin reflects self-respect. Basic care routines, washing, moisturizing, and protecting the skin signal that a man values his body. Women often interpret this not as vanity but as maturity. It suggests he pays attention to details and respects the aging process rather than neglecting himself. In the end, women are not seeking perfection or youth. They are noticing whether a man's skin reflects vitality, balance, and intention. Skin that shows care and resilience communicates that a man is present in his life and committed to aging well. That quiet message often matters far more than any single physical feature. As this conversation comes to a close, it's important to understand one simple truth. Women are not evaluating men over 60 through the lens of youth or perfection. They are observing signs of life, presence, and intention. Every movement, every expression, and every small habit tells a story about how a man has chosen to age. What truly stands out is not how young someone looks, but how well they live in the body they have today. Aging is not a loss of value, it is a shift in priorities. Strength becomes steadiness, attraction becomes trust, beauty becomes vitality. Women are drawn to men who respect their health, listen to their bodies, and show up fully, physically, mentally, and emotionally. These qualities cannot be faked, and they cannot be rushed. They are built through daily choices. The most powerful message a man can send after 60 is not through words, but through how he cares for himself. Small, consistent actions create visible signals of confidence, balance, and longevity. When a man embraces aging with awareness instead of resistance, he becomes more attractive, not less. Remember, growing older is inevitable, but aging well is a decision, and that decision is something women notice quietly, intuitively.